people to give them an insight into what is going on, and I know it's taking an awful lot out of you to do this. So thank you.
I wanted to say as well, just thanks to you, thanks to everybody who has been reaching out, and offering support. I mean, friends, obviously, but my bosses, RGR staff, Gary Allen, Claire Grant, Milton Walker has been touching base with me every single day, checking on how I'm doing and letting me know that anything I need, the company will be helping,
Right.
All kinds of other friends doing all kinds of things, supermarket run, pharmacy run, just really, really good support.
Right. Let me come to you, Dr. Taylor, so Dionne can just get a breather. Doc?
Yeah.
You told me today, Millie, don't catch this. Tell me why you beg me not to.
I felt like George Floyd. Every night since before I did the test, and I've tested 11 days now. Every single night after I'm asking myself the question how I'm going to get through the night. It's difficult. There's very little energy. I get tired just moving from one side of the bed to another.
Just rolling.
Yeah, man. Or, I've been outside, I walk. It's like in slow motion. I feel as if I'm, doing those old katas that I used to do when I was doing karate. Everything feels like slow motion. I'm pulling my breath, but my greatest friend is my oximeter.
Oh, you have an oximeter.
Oh,
that's
yes.
good.
Yes, so I test every half an hour. Right? You'll hear it beeping in the background, so the numbers look okay now still. So that's what's been encouraging me. But like Dionne, though, I must say that we really work for a great group of people, a really great group, and some things you take for granted. But to hear from Gary Allen, Claire Grant, Kalisha, I don't want to run through the name of everybody because with not enough oxygen running through the brain, you're going to forget some people. But people have been just hailing me up. I've been getting support from the diaspora. Thank God I'm getting robust support. I'm home.
Yes.
Thankfully, I'm not in hospital. Trying very hard to stay away from that.
Yes.
But, Millie, I'm going to say it again. I've had a history of respiratory illnesses. I've had many, many cases since I was 10. Many cases. There are many times that doctors thought that I really wouldn't have made it. I remember when I was 10 years old, I had to be taking penicillin every day for 1 week plus. And my poor mother, 105 pounds, had to be lifting this 10-year-old child every day to the hospital, and just, realized just how hard it must have been for her. But within all of that, Emily, and all of the episodes I've had since that, I've never had one like this, where I felt like this thing is trying to kill me.
Dionne,
every night,
I know you've
like
interviewed.
it's trying to kill me.
Yes, Dionne, I know you've interviewed so many people as well. Is this what you're going through, sort of the picture that was painted by others, or is it worse for you?
In some cases, what I would say is the muscle pains when I started having them. I understand why. Like I'd interviewed with Giovanni recently about his bout with COVID, and one of the things he said is that he could feel the virus inside him, and I didn't. It's hard to understand until you feel it, because the muscle pains literally feel like something is inside me, twisting me. It is very hard to describe. Having said that, though, so far I haven't been nearly as bad as I'm not where Orville is. And perhaps I think the post I made actually yesterday, I think was actually a good thing, because I think I may have been in danger of being a little bit complacent. But having seen the post, several of my doctors, I was talking to them, and one of the main concerns, they're saying you're not past anything. Anything can still happen. And one of the main concerns is whether you might have a sudden drop in oxygen. So, along with Orville, my oxygen is being monitored constantly. We know, because the doctors had said it was a little on the low side yesterday. So if it drops any lower, then action is going to have to be taken. So that's one of the major concerns, that and the possibility of developing some kind of secondary bacterial infection.
So when you hear all of that now, mentally,
monitoring,
yes,
lung therapy, blowing out to try to keep the airways open, how you sleep. I had to watch the video on how to, what they call self-prone. Sleep on your stomach and then twist, move from side to side during the night, kind of thing. So
Tell me mentally, before I come back to Dr. Taylor, when you heard that your oxygen was a little low yesterday, what did that do to you?
Yes, I woke up because I had been saying, okay, well, I'm not having any breathing issues and I'm fine. So I'm fine. And they were like, no, this thing can go south very, very quickly. Plus I do have an underlying condition and I have asthma. So again, the concern is that if things go south, whether it might be difficult for me to fight back, essentially, which is why the ongoing monitoring is so important.
Right. So, Dr. Taylor, you encounter some real fears as well with this thing mentally? Dr. Taylor?
Yes.
You there?
Darling.
Feeling a bit drained?
Still here, yeah. Yeah, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm just asking you mentally if you had great fears that things may take a turn for the worse and you just won't be able to manage, or just take me through the mental gymnastics that you've gone through.
I think one of the things I like, as well as I don't like about myself, is that I tend not to fear too much. I tend to stare the face of danger, stare down the face of danger. I have no delusions though. I am aware that this is equivalent to my going through an area where you have a number of armed insurgents who have firepower at least as great as mine, and who are not trying to take prisoners. So I know that at any moment, if I drop my guard, I'm going to be taken under. I'm very much aware of this.
What do you mean taken under?
I know that if I drop my guard at any point, this will kill me.
You face that possibility?
I'm saying even abnormal colds and flus make me very sick.
Oh.
The only time that I've been absent from the show is when I've had a cold or flu. The average person will come around me with a bout of sinusitis, for example, and it turns into bronchitis or pneumonia for me. So I've always been afraid of colds.
Yes.
So I know that anytime any kind of cold must be seriously managed. So, there was a positive test. I mean, other members of my household were showing signs. There was a positive test on the Friday, out of caution. While they were going to do the test, I just called my doctor and I said, you know what, Charlie, I think I'm very feeling, just set up a prescription for me and stuff. And I picked up, and then I did the test the next morning. Right, so by the time I got back in though, I've been pulling this temperature, which has been pretty much somewhere around 37, 38 for the last 11 days. Hasn't gone. Right, so that's about somewhere between 99 and 101. Yeah, so I know that I'm not out of the woods, so I'm not having any delusions about this. I just know that I have to win every battle. I have to win a battle every day.
Right.
Every day. And you know what? I am winning this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm winning this. I mean, you talk about spirituality and stuff like that. I'm a praying person. I come from, I'm Elder Taylor's, son. Miss Ivy is very, was very, very big in the church, Bible church, grew up Catholic, etc. But can I tell you some strange things? I had 3 consecutive nights in which I had dreams about my mother. And the day before that, I dreamt about one of my primary school teachers who died 2 years ago.
Wow.
Right? And they say about weddings and funerals, etc. So I was there planning this wedding. She was saying to me, Orville, something is wrong with this. We know it's virtual reality now, but you can't put the camera right there. There's too much garbage. Please move it. And she was reprimanding me. And I was saying to her, but Stewie, she said, Orville, move it. And then it never occurred to me that she was dead. And I woke up the next morning, and of course I was roasting.
What a dream.
Fell back asleep, and then it was my mother.
Yeah.
And we were in the square piece of land, like tenement yard. Slightly unfamiliar. And I said to her, I realized that other people were there, and that she might have been preparing food, and there was no food for me. So I walked up to my mother, and I said to her, there's no food for me. And she said, no. And I didn't want to press it because I didn't want to offend her. And then I woke up and it hit me that, call me superstitious if you wish, but I think Miss Ivy was telling me that there's no food for me there because she's not expecting to join me.
Not expecting you to join her at all. I have the final word to Dionne. I'm out of time. Dionne, what you want to tell the listeners?
I'm not. Well, I was given a good lecture yesterday about not being pessimistic or anything like that. So I'm just taking it day by day, hour by hour, following instructions, following my medical instructions. I think what I'm really, really happy about is that I've been home since last week Wednesday when I started having symptoms. But even prior to that, for weeks before that, I've been double masking plus wearing a shield.
Yeah.
So anybody who was around me, I really did have that barrier of protection between me and the other guys in the newsroom.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we'll check in back with you. I'll check in back with you personally and hopefully on this program so you can keep updating us on where you are. Thank you both.
Dionne Jackson Miller and Dr. Orville Taylor, both positive COVID-19. I listened to them and it is real. These are persons that can afford doctors, can afford to be in the best hospital, can afford, and I hear in their voice, they don't want to be having this. And we are out here without masks. Persons are, playing hide and seek with persons not wearing a mask and hugging up and talking up in each other's face and sitting in offices. Don't want to put on masks, wear the mask over with ears and under with chin, and I don't know about anybody else, but I know that COVID-19 is real. People, make we take heed, stay away from each other, wear with masks, double masks. If possible, Dionne say it. I felt stupid because from last week, I double mask me I wear. Double mask. People, COVID-19 is real.